The truth most men don't want to admit is this. The more nice you try to be with a woman, the more pressure quietly builds inside you. And one day, that pressure turns into resentment you never planned to feel. You start out thinking you're doing the right thing, being patient, being generous, being understanding, but slowly something strange begins to happen. You feel like you're giving more and getting less and less. And the worst part is, you start feeling angry about it, even though you're the one who chose to give in the first place. And if you're a smart man who wants to understand how relationships really work in the modern world, subscribe to this channel. Not because I need it, but because men who understand psychology early avoid years of quiet frustration later. That's what we talk about here. Because the trap most men fall into is something I call the nice guy debt. It's when a man starts giving kindness like it's an investment, expecting emotional returns later. But here's what men don't realize. When kindness becomes a hidden transaction, it stops being kindness. It becomes pressure. And pressure always destroys attraction. A lot of men listening right now know exactly what this feels like. You pay for dinners, you drive across town to see her, you help her with problems, you listen to long conversations about her work, her stress, her friends, you show patience when she's distant. And in your mind, you're telling yourself something like, she'll see how good I am eventually, she'll appreciate me, she'll choose me. But wait, this is where most men lose themselves without noticing. Because the moment kindness becomes a strategy to earn love, you start building emotional debt. And debt always demands repayment. That's why so many nice guys suddenly explode months later. Not because they're bad men, because they've been silently keeping score the entire time. You might not even admit this to yourself, but your mind starts creating a quiet ledger. I drove 2 hours to see her. I helped her move apartments. I bought her that birthday gift. I stayed up listening when she was upset. And then one day she cancels a plan, or chooses to hang out with friends instead, or forgets something important to you. And suddenly your chest tightens, anger spikes. Your brain says, after everything I've done for you? That sentence right there reveals the trap, because love cannot grow inside a system of emotional accounting, and that one mistake ruins everything. The first way being too nice creates resentment is when kindness replaces honesty. A lot of men are afraid to say what they actually want, so instead they try to earn it through behavior. You want commitment, but instead of saying it, you just become the most helpful man in her life. You want deeper affection, but instead of asking, you try to impress her with how good you are. But here's the quiet psychological problem. When you hide your real needs, the relationship becomes confusing. She experiences you as supportive, but she doesn't feel the emotional clarity that creates attraction. So she relaxes. She treats you like safe support. And slowly, the dynamic shifts. Not because she's evil, because humans respond to what is clearly expressed. Now imagine a small moment. You're sitting on a couch after dinner. She's scrolling her phone, half listening while you talk. You feel that tight pressure in your chest again. You think, I planned this whole evening. But instead of saying something honest like, hey, I'd like your attention right now, you stay quiet. You smile, you pretend it's fine, but resentment grows because you're being nice instead of being real. And the truth most men discover too late is this: fake harmony creates real resentment. The second trap is when generosity becomes silent competition. This one happens a lot in modern dating. You start comparing yourself to other men around her, maybe guys from her past, maybe men on social media, maybe men she casually mentions. So you try to outperform them with kindness. You become the man who always pays, always helps, always supports. But here's what men don't realize about attraction dynamics. When generosity is used as proof of worth, it loses its emotional value. It becomes predictable, and predictable effort doesn't build attraction, it builds comfort. Comfort is good in relationships, but attraction needs tension, individuality, and self-respect. Otherwise, you slowly become the reliable option, not the desired one. And that realization hurts deeply, because in your mind you're thinking, how can she not see everything I'm doing? But attraction doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to energy, confidence, clarity, and the ability to give without losing yourself. The third resentment trap is when a man sacrifices things he actually cares about. This one hurts men quietly. Maybe you cancel plans with friends because she might want to see you. Maybe you rearrange work schedules. Maybe you stop hobbies. You tell yourself relationships require sacrifice, and that's true, but healthy sacrifice is mutual. Nice guy sacrifice is silent and one-sided, and eventually your mind starts whispering something uncomfortable. I've changed my life for her. Has she changed anything for me? Now, resentment enters the relationship like slow poison, not loud anger, just quiet bitterness. You still act nice, but inside, something hard is forming. The fourth way this trap shows up is when emotional support becomes emotional labor. Many men become the therapist of the relationship. You listen to every problem, every stress, every family issue, every friend drama. You become the calm one who holds space for her emotions, which is a beautiful quality. But here's the problem. If you only show up as emotional stability, you stop showing up as a man with needs too. And relationships collapse when one person becomes the emotional container for the other, because attraction requires emotional exchange, not emotional absorption. One night, she calls you upset about work. You listen for 40 minutes, you comfort her, you reassure her, and after the call ends, you sit there staring at the ceiling, and your brain quietly asks a question you don't want to admit. When was the last time she asked how I'm doing? That's resentment forming, not because she's bad, because you trained the relationship to revolve around her emotions. The fifth trap is when men avoid conflict to keep the peace. Nice guys hate tension. They want harmony. So when something bothers them, they swallow it. When boundaries are crossed, they rationalize it. When respect slips, they pretend it didn't happen. But here's a brutal truth about human psychology. Respect is built through boundaries, not through tolerance. If a man never expresses limits, people subconsciously treat those limits as non-existent. Now, imagine a birthday dinner with her friends. Someone makes a small joke about you. Not cruel, but slightly disrespectful. Everyone laughs. You laugh too. You play along. But inside, something feels off. You tell yourself, don't make a scene. But your body knows what happened. Your shoulders tighten, your stomach sinks, because your dignity just took a quiet hit, and you didn't defend it. That moment stays in your mind longer than you expect, and resentment slowly attaches itself to her, even though she didn't actually do anything wrong. The final trap, and this one is the deepest. Nice guys give in hopes of future reward. This is the hidden contract most men don't even know they're making. If I treat her well, she will eventually love me the way I want. If I prove my loyalty, she will choose me. If I show patience, she will commit. But here's the painful truth drop. Love is not a reward system, it's a response system. People don't fall in love because someone earned enough points. They fall in love because the emotional dynamic between two people creates attraction, safety, respect, and desire. When a man quietly believes kindness guarantees love, disappointment becomes inevitable, and that disappointment turns into resentment toward the very woman he tried to please. So what does a healthy man do differently? First, he stops treating kindness like currency. Kindness is something you give because it reflects who you are, not because it buys emotional return. Second, he becomes clear about his needs early, not aggressively, not dramatically, just calmly honest. For example, instead of silently hoping for attention, you say something simple like, "Hey, when we spend time together, I like us both present. That matters to me." Not a complaint, just clarity. Third, stop sacrificing your entire life structure to prove devotion. Keep your routines, keep your friendships, keep your independence, because a man who maintains his life signals stability, not neediness. Fourth, stop being the emotional container for everything. Support her when she struggles, but also share your world. Say things like, "I had a rough day today too. I could use a little support." Healthy relationships allow both people to lean sometimes. Fifth, practice calm boundaries. Not anger, not control, just simple statements. For example, "I'm not comfortable with jokes like that," or "Let's not talk to each other that way." Short, calm, respectful, but clear. And finally, remove the hidden contract. Do not treat love like something someone owes you because you were good. Treat love like something two people actively build together. That mindset alone removes most resentment before it even begins. So here's what I want you to do this week. Pay attention to moments when you're being nice while secretly expecting something back. Catch that pattern and replace it with honesty. If you want appreciation, ask for appreciation. If you want commitment, say that clearly. If you feel disrespected, address it calmly in the moment. And stop doing things that quietly make you resent the person you care about. Because the strongest men in relationships are not the men who give the most. They're the men who give freely while still respecting themselves. That balance changes everything. And once you understand that, being kind stops feeling like a burden. It starts feeling like strength.